What is up? Truth or transparency? What's good? What's good? Oh boy. Welcome everybody. Look at this. Binder 1, binder 2. These are Dayvon's put his voir dire together. So this was the questions that were asked at his voir dire to determine who was going to be on his jury. So I put these together. What you guys are looking at is this is one of my timelines that I put together. Dayvon's going to be joining us. Hello, guys. He's going to be joining us. Dayvon will be here. He'll be on the phone with me. I beefed up some things. Hi, hello, Peyton. Mandy Joe, what's good? Nothing like a Saturday. Getting angry? Whenever I talk about Aliquippa, I get angry. So I got some Angry Orchard for my Saturday afternoon. They say have an apple a day, keep the doctor away. Hey, Lana, Michigan here. What's good? What's good? All right. So what I always do is I do a timeline. And so I take all the events. I'm going to wait till he calls so like he can hear. So what's good, everybody? You guys having a good Saturday? Let's take a look. Good Saturday. Yeah, Aliquippa's nuts. There was how many pages is in here? Binder 1 is 300, like almost 300, 289 pages. And then binder 2, again, this is voir dire. Hi guys. I like when you guys get to see like the way like these lives. This is how I work. So you guys get to see like a little sneak peek of that. Like right now I'm working on a plaintiff's response motion to dismiss for lack of personal jurisdiction. So I'm working on documents like that, working on some admissions. I'm teaching myself. Come on, where you at, Dayvon? Let's go, bro. What the heck's he calling me for? He's probably like, I can't get out of yard. While we're waiting, yes, I can give a refresher. Absolutely. Yo, what up, girl?
Hey, Lana, I'm waiting for him to call. You know, sometimes if you delay.
I know, it's like we can't call him, right?
Right. So I'm just waiting for him to call.
All right, good. Well, it's all lined up. I'm live, so whenever you guys are all good, just give me a holler. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to send you the link so you can send it to the family?
What'd you say?
I'll send you the link so you can send it around to the family.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, love.
And remember, he said he had some information that he wanted you to look into too.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. I got some stuff for him as well. So cool.
Perfect.
All right, I'll talk to you.
So he should be calling any minute now.
All right, that's perfect. I'll talk to you in a little bit, hon.
All right.
Okay, bye. Oh yeah, can you give us a recap? Like a 3-minute summary of where you are and what you're about. What I'm about? I'm just about fairness. So, let me do something though really quick. I just had a aha moment. So yeah, I was watching the Alec, his lawyers talking about like them appealing and whatnot. They made some really good points. And I listened to that juror that did his little spiel on, I don't know, ABC Worldly. And We had 9 that raised their hand guilty, 2 raised their hand innocent, 1 undecided. Within 45 minutes, we were done. Like, that's just wow. To be able to get me to come your way in a matter of 45 seconds or 45 minutes ain't happening. Not for me, anyways. I'm probably tired. All right. Hi, Alice. Alice, don't worry, I'm coming to you, girl. You don't even want to know my week was like, girl. Woo! Alice. Oh my God, beef. What is good? Oh, maybe I have so much to tell you. So the recap with this case is, in a nutshell, basically I am building everything surrounding stuff to help him. I mean, just come home. I think at the point that you're at right now, as much as you want to like clear your name of things, you can clear your name once you get home, you know? So for me, it's building something that can be seen by people that are in influential places that, okay, it's time that he comes home. Even if you think that he's guilty of all of the stuff that he's, I believe, served his time. But so, but what I do here is this is a timeline. I'm going to blow it up a little bit for you guys. Dayvon will be calling in, and the police reports are wrong. They fudge stuff. And so I'm putting together a timeline to show that it is impossible that Dayvon was the one that set up any of this, based on phone records. So I'm using phone records. I'm using police reports, witness statements, and I'm retracing the steps of the 2 weeks leading up to that incident that night, and then really breaking it down like the night of the incident, because this all centers around an alleged drug deal that they were supposed to go get drugs, and it was actually like these people were planning on robbing. Dayvon wasn't even, he was living in Atlanta. He wasn't even like there. He was there for a funeral. His friend Brandon Rivas asked him, "Hey, will you ride with me to go do this with 2 other dudes?" And that's the only reason he went. So let me see here. So I have I have Brandon Morgan's phone records, and I have his statements. And his statements are, number 1, clashing. But number 2, it's all about this setting up this drug deal. And the name Rashad Brown came up, and that's who he said was one of his workers at the finish line. Well, I went ahead and called Rashad Brown, and I talked to him for just like a couple minutes. And I was like, "Hey, will you just talk to me? I'm doing a podcast, and I was looking and I saw your name, and I know that the information that surrounds this case is not true. I don't care about, I have no interest in, I just want you to tell the truth. Did you set up a drug deal?" So he said, "Okay, can you call me back?" And I said, "Sure, when's a good time?" He said, "Tomorrow." And so he's been ducking me since. But so that's what this is. This is me putting together his spreadsheet. So the statement that he wrote out that night, he then gets a lawyer and he goes back to the station and he does a typed up version. And I believe that he had to type it up because the handwriting would not match, because a police officer wrote his whole statement the time that he was there on the 16th. Because technically the night started on the 15th, guys. And then as it went into midnight, it becomes the 16th. So just letting you guys know that the 15th then goes into the night, which is then the 16th. Here he is. Hey, what's up?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, cool.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, Lana? How you?
Oh, just sitting here at my desk, ready to get down, talk about some stuff.
Yeah.
I started some stuff for you for a timeline. How you been? How was your week?
It was alright. I had talked to I don't know if you remember me telling you about DeMarley, and the boy Otto calling him.
Yes.
So I talked to him, and I talked to DeMar, and he said that he gave me a rundown on what was actually going on. So the whole thing about it was them two didn't trust each other. Otto didn't trust Brandon, and Brandon didn't trust Otto.
Okay.
So their reasoning for getting DeMar involved was to come and rob us. But Brandon had the same thing in mind. Like, his thing was to have, I guess, Munch and them go with him and rob Otto.
Okay, so it was like this. It was like Brandon's calling Otto. So Brandon and Otto know each other from high school. He calls him up. He's like, "Hey, these kids from Aliquippa want to buy, a couple pounds of marijuana. We don't have it, but let's act like we do, and we'll rob them."
Yeah.
Okay? So then why didn't Brandon and Otto? What ended up happening? Like, why was
I don't know. He told me to tell you to call him.
which guy?
DeMarley.
Okay.
So I told him I'd give you his number.
Give me a second here, guys. All right. I wanted to pause everything so that I didn't put his phone number out there. No, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Perfect. That's interesting because I have Otto. Let's see.
This is a call from Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Okay. So Otto was interviewed. I want to read you his statement just so do you remember it? I'll just read it to you. Hold on 1 second.
No, I'm in that joint.
All right. All right, here we go. On 12/21/2004, which I think it was supposed to be 2005, but whatever. They don't know what the hell they're doing over here. Okay. At approximately 11:30, Detective Chamberlain and Captain Tony McClure conducted an interview with Brian Allenbog, whose name is Otto, and his mother. What's what everyone needed to be interviewed with their moms in Aliquippa? I'm just.
Yeah, I didn't know that he interviewed with his mom.
Yeah, he interviewed his mom. Brian Otto was advised of the incident in question involving Brandon Morgan. Otto stated that he has not seen Brandon for at least 2 months. The last time he saw him was when he purchased a pair of shoes at the mall where Brandon was working. Otto also stated that he lost his cell phone. Imagine that. The week of November 2005, Brian never reported the phone missing to anyone because he has lost it many times
This is a
before.
call from Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Because he has lost it so many times before and has always gotten it back. His mom stated that he probably did not know the procedure for reporting lost phones to the cell phone provider. Okay. Brian Otto stated that approximately 2 weeks after he lost his phone, he was riding with his friend, like this girl, this guy, Chris. When Chris received a phone call from Heather. I have both of their interviews here, by the way, too. So I'm going to give you that. He received a phone call from Chris, and then a girl from this girl, Heather, had called and told Chris that she found Otto's cell phone and wanted to return it to him. Otto and Chris met with Heather and got his phone back. Otto stated that he only knew what happened to Brandon by reading the newspaper. Otto will attempt to get into touch with Chris and will have him call Detective Chamberlain. Detective Chamberlain did a license check on Heather and found out to have a license registered and this address and all that stuff. No phone number located for the residence. So what I did is I pulled Heather and this Chris guy. First of all, he acts like he lost his phone. I don't buy that. So what I did is I took all the cell phone numbers that homeboy Brandon Morgan was calling that day,
Yeah.
So I have them all. And he says that he started doing this stuff at 5 p.m. that day. He said he got out of work and he had a phone call at 5 from basically, quote unquote, Marquay. Well, these are the phone numbers. These are the times that he had. He had 501, 503, 506, 506, 507, 508, 512, 520, 523, 538, 551, 552, and 601. And guess what? Out of all of those calls, three of them originated when he received them or made the phone call. He was in Aliquippa. So
I wasn't nowhere around them at that time.
Yeah, so at 5 o'clock, so he was literally in Aliquippa at 5. He was literally driving back and forth across the bridge, though, because I'm gonna pull it down here to show everybody. I made an Excel spreadsheet for this. So what we got here is, so what I was looking for is I wanted to see these numbers that were coming in, and because he was adamant that, you being allegedly Marquay was this 5 o'clock call. So how I got that was I went to his little written up version because he typed that all up, and he said that okay. On what day was it? All right. Where did he say 5 o'clock though?
I always wondered if Otto was one of the two white boys that was in the bushes. At the
Do you remember what he looks like? If you can give me a description of him, I can tell you if it was him. I know it's been a lot of years, but I can probably pull some back pics of him. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get you some pics, and you can tell me if you recognize any of them.
I didn't really get a good look at their faces. But I seen them, and I seen when they got up out the bushes and ran.
Okay. Let me go back to this. Let me see. All right, so all right, I was supposed to take them to this guy on a Sunday night, but Marquay called and said he couldn't leave the house because his girl left him to watch his 2 kids. We discussed that. You only had 1 kid. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Then he said, so I told him that was fine and that we could work something out. This leads us up to Tuesday, November 15th. So here we are. He says on Tuesday, November 15th, it was around 5 o'clock when Marquay had called me and said he had the $7,500 and wanted to meet up with this kid. I told him that I would call Otto and see what could happen. I talked to Otto, and he told me to meet up with him in New Brighton around 10:30 or 11. So what I did is I took every number between 5 and 6 o'clock and put it right here. And it was, and at 5, okay, so at 5:01, he's in South Heights, which is, like right across basically where Ambridge is on the other side. You know where that's at.
Yeah.
So he makes a phone call, and he said that now he's saying that Marquay called him, not that he called Marquay. So I looked at his incoming calls versus like his outgoing, and he's got 5:01 as an incoming, 5:06, 5:07. So what I did is I took the ones that were incoming and I ran them like through like, believe it or not, I called every single one of these, but I also like Google searched it, reverse searched it, saw what names to kind of connect who was where. And nothing traces back to Otto in any way, shape, or form, him or his family members. So that's like, I'm just for that. None of these trace back to you or your family members. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know how your lawyer is not like, here, take a look at these messages. What phone number was his that called? Okay, no, that's not my client's number. Here's his numbers. I don't understand how, like.
Didn't even bring up that whole phone list. Like he never referenced that or mentioned that or used that in his cross-examination or nothing.
So then he says, so then I started looking, and he's like literally making a phone call. So if he's already in South Heights at 5:01, he makes another call at 5:03, so he's still in South Heights. 5:06, he's still in South Heights. 5:06, he calls again. Like he's doing all these numbers, back to back.
Yeah.
And he says, I was able to then, okay, so then at 5:23, he makes a phone call. He calls. And Jamie, his girlfriend, did not have a cell phone. He had to call Misty, who they lived in a duplex. So I have the house that they were living in. They lived in a duplex, and Misty had one of the houses of the duplex, and then Brandon and Jamie, who were dating, had the other one. Okay.
Right.
So when Brandon Morgan would call Misty here at 5:23, he's in Aliquippa. All right. He's calling, and then that was signaled for Misty to go hand the phone to Jamie. Okay.
Right.
And then, because I was wondering, I was like, where is this dude? Why isn't this dude ever calling his girlfriend? Well, because his girlfriend didn't have a phone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the whole thing that you took these cell phones from these people so that they couldn't do anything, that's a damn lie, because Jamie didn't even have a cell phone.
Right.
Did Ben, you ever talk about that?
No.
So at 5:23, he calls Misty, but he's now in Aliquippa. Okay. So
That's the weird thing, like if he's in Aliquippa that much, I don't understand why they would want to have the meeting spot in Rochester. Like if you're in Aliquippa that much, then when him and Munch set this up, they could have met in Aliquippa.
That's what I'm saying. The other thing is that when I say he's always in Aliquippa, his phone calls, when I was going through this, it's like a drug dealer. He's constantly making a call, and when he's doing that, he's moving from city to city because he's driving around. You know what I mean? Because there's no way that, if I make a phone call from my house,
You have 1 minute left.
You want to just call right back, babe?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay.
The caller has hung up.
Yeah, this will call right back later.
Okay, cool. So, so this is I gotta pull up my. So I was reorganizing all my shit, and so I have like shit, all these 724s, 412s. I'm like, who are these numbers? I was going through my phone, but I was like, oh man, that was the day I was calling all of Dayvon's people. I was like, who the hell's? I was like, what the hell? Who was I calling?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was able to pull all of Brandon Morgan's family to see their numbers because I wanted to see who he was calling.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's calling his dad. He's got an aunt. The other thing I wanted to see, have you ever hung around or been around Beaver Ave in Aliquippa, like by like I think it's where like the right by the water where like the industrial stuff is.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, not too many people did. I didn't even realize that was something. So when I pulled up some of this stuff, I realized that I was just trying to see who he knew in Aliquippa. And so I just want to know if you know any of these addresses. Do you know where Pleasant Drive is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you know where I agree with you. Why not just meet in Aliquippa? Well, because they couldn't rob you that way. That's not their
Right.
But I'm saying he was literally going somewhere in Aliquippa. He was working with somebody in Aliquippa.
Right.
And I mean, I have a pretty good idea who the person was. I'm almost positive. I think I know who it was. Okay. Me and you both, I think, kind of know who we feel like. But he was literally there all the time, like every day he's there. He would be there late at night, and it would be like he was sleeping there because in the morning when he woke up, he'd make a phone call like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was like from Aliquippa or he's calling Misty. And it's like you're calling Misty because you're not at home. So where are you?
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So
and the crazy thing is, I've never seen this dude before. Even though I wasn't in Aliquippa around this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never heard of him. I never seen him. I never Yeah.
Okay. So I went ahead and I looked at to see if he was in trouble or if he like was trying to get out of stuff. So his like he has a bunch of like 2012 DUI. 2011, I'm sorry, DUI. 2016 false report, falsely incriminating another man. You can't make this up. So Brandon Morgan, he has on his record, he pleaded guilty for false report.
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
So he falsely incriminated another, just like he did to you. That's what he did in 2016 and was caught for it. Okay. 2016, driving while operating, privileges revoked. Two 2011. Just some traffic. Something about traffic. Again, another DUI in 2017. 2018, display plate card improperly with vehicle. And you know what that usually means? That means you usually get it knocked down to something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like you're getting that when you should have been getting something else.
Right.
Exactly. Driving unregistered vehicle, driving while intoxicated, operating without a required financial responsible party, so no insurance. I mean, but for some reason, operating vehicle without valid inspection, driving while suspended privilege, driving without a license. That was just 2022. driving without a
Did
valid
anything
license.
ever come out of the PSA that he had, that Jamie had on him?
I noticed that he didn't have any run-ins with the law from like a certain period of time, and then all of a sudden 2012 till present day, it was like then he's like, so he was, nothing was happening to him from the time of your case in 2005 and 6 until 2012.
Yeah.
So so then I went and I looked at auto. I believe that the 503 under
This is a
for
call
my
from
investigation.
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
At 503, that was a burner phone. The 503 number is a burner phone. The 551 is a burner phone. So I was able to figure out that the 551 number and the 503 number burner numbers, and they go back to it was a Rochester burner. Now, remember the night that you guys got in trouble? Do you remember Virginia?
Yeah.
Do you remember Virginia Avenue at all? Remember being over there?
I heard of it before. In Rochester.
Yeah, it's right over there by that AutoZone.
Yeah.
Guess who lived there
Who?
back in the day?
Who?
Auto. That's where you guys were that night over there.
In them apartment complexes.
No, not in the apartment complexes. This was over by where y'all met, like AutoZone.
Oh, by the Long John Silvers and all that.
Yeah, over there. There's Virginia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So remember why you're saying why to meet over there? Why meet over there?
Yeah.
So whoever this kid is that's giving you some information, he's right. Like they can act like they didn't see each other in months. That's a lie. Because I mean, it's circumstantial, but Otto lived on that street. You know what I'm saying? Otto lived on the street that is mentioned within your paperwork where they went in to try to find like that shell casings and stuff like that. Timmy Patrick was driving around Virginia Ave over there by AutoZone up along the side of the main road. So
Right.
I was able to to pull that. Then I went and pulled normally. So I was like, okay, maybe Heather's on the up and up. We just need somebody to, to be this up and up person, So
Maybe the person I
yeah, if he's got
I
information.
told you about that could maybe he could send that you auto. I mean, at this point.
Yeah, because so Otto never
maybe,
testified.
like,
So Otto never
Yeah, he
testified.
never testified. Nope.
I mean, just so this is what Brandon then Morgan says more so. He says that I let Jamie, or I'm sorry, he said he was meeting at 5:00. He said he had the 7,500 want to meet up with this kid. I told him I would call Otto and see what could happen. I talked to Otto and he told me to meet up with him in New Brighton around 10:30 or 11. Is that what you remember doing at 10:30 or 11?
Who, me?
Yeah. When did you guys leave Aliquippa?
I thought it was a little like after 9.
Okay. So, I called Marquay back and told him he would be in Rochester and where we would be at. So, I went and looked at all the outgoing phone calls to the only numbers possible that he could have been calling. Okay. And that's why I'm leaning towards these burner numbers, because if you're saying you talked to somebody right when you got out of work, 503, then you call that same number back at 551. So I believe that the person that he was, whoever had that burner number that was the 503 outgoing call and incoming call, and at 551, I think that's the person based on like me breaking it all down. But this is the weird part. This is the weird part. Remember I told you, if you never had those girls in that car, none of this shit would have happened.
Exactly.
Okay, so check this out. He says, I let Jamie and Misty know what I was going to do. Both of them said that they wanted to go with me to make sure nothing went wrong. Why would two girls go with a man to make sure that nothing went wrong?
Right. But I told you, Jamie told us that they was going to rob us.
Yeah. No,
That's what they was trying to do.
So she said, so then he says, around 10 p.m., Jamie, Misty, and I got into my truck and we left to head to Rochester. But my point is that I believe that this was a setup from jump. It was like, as organized as like, you need to go get those girls. You can't get, if there's no girls, there's no, none of this happens, right?
Right.
Okay,
And
so
based off of the way he was moving throughout the day anyway, he was making moves without them.
oh yeah, he was driving all over the place. So now all of a sudden he's going to pick up these girls, one's allegedly his girlfriend, like, and that. So then I went and watched. I went and pulled out Misty's testimony from the night in question. Okay, so did I ever read you that portion? What she says what she said she did? It's awesome.
No.
You want me to read it? Hold on 1 second. Let me get this for you. Okay. I got the transcripts from Misty. So she takes the stand. She's one of the state's witnesses, and she says, I'm going to take you back to 2015. Do you remember the day? Yes. How old were you then? She was 19. Who was with you that day? Jamie and Brandon. Okay. She said, and where were you? And she says, at the beginning of the night, we were at his house. Okay. And who is Brandon? He was my neighbor. And how do you know him? When he moved in, we just became friends. Question. How long have you known Brandon? About a year. Okay. And who is Jamie? At the time, she was his girlfriend. Okay. And how long did you know her? Really well. And how long did you know her at that point? About a year. Okay. Could you just describe to the jury, how did that evening begin? We were sitting in Brandon's house. He started getting phone calls on his cell phone, and we got into his truck and we got into his car and left. Well, check this out. I took the phone records. Okay. So she says that they're at his house. Hold on 1 second. Oh, Lord. He wasn't, so his phone records show that he wasn't in South Heights at 10 p.m. Okay. So when he says, I let Jamie and Misty know what I was going to do, both of them said that they wanted to go with me to make sure nothing went wrong. Around 10 p.m., Jamie and Misty and I got into my truck and left to head to Rochester. Okay. So unless y'all were with him in these other places that he was at, because the phone records don't lie, the phone records show where every call is originating from, and it's not where he says he was. So she's making it seem like they're at this house, then he's getting these phone calls, and then do you guys want to come? So, but I'm just going to read it verbatim of what she says.
You have 1 minute left.
About how long? We were sitting at Brandon's house, and he started getting phone calls on his cell phone, and we got into his car and left. And did you know what you got into his car and left? So Brandon can pick up 2 guys and go get them marijuana. And what was your understanding of this marijuana transaction? That we were just picking up the 2 guys and dropping them off, picking them up and dropping them off. Okay. And did you know these 2 individuals? I did not. To the best of your knowledge, did Brandon know these 2 individuals? I don't recall if he knew them at all. Now, once you got into his vehicle, what type of vehicle was it? It was a Ford Explorer. What color was it? Black. Okay, where did you go? We went to AutoZone in Rochester on the back side and picked up 2 guys. And exactly where is this AutoZone located? Down by Long John Silver's in Rochester. And when you say you were on...
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
He'll just call back.
Yeah, he'll call right back.
Can you describe for the jury? Dayvon's already heard this, so I'll just keep it moving. Can you describe for the jury exactly where you were situated? We went down to the hot dog shop and made the left into like a back alley and like came up the side where the dumpsters are. Okay, and approximately what time did you go there? I believe it was a little after 10. Okay, and who came to your vehicle on that occasion? 2 gentlemen that identified themselves as Marquay and Ann.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
You there? Okay, so she's
Yeah, I'm here.
she's talking about okay. So now you guys, these are the original transcripts that Dayvon took the time when he went through all this stuff. Like you highlighted some stuff and then I highlighted some stuff. So look at the old color of this yellowness there. That's like from 2005 and the new brightness from now. I'm just showing the crowd your stuff here. It said, okay, so when I was going through this, she gets asked this question, which she wants to know where everybody's sitting in the vehicle. Do you remember which individual sat behind the passenger seat? Yeah, Marquay. I guess I can ask you this. And the individual in the middle was who? Antoine? Is that what she called? Antoine?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and do you remember what they were wearing on that evening? Black jackets. One guy was wearing a white shirt and had a picture on it that he said that his friend had died. He was wearing a t-shirt that had the picture of him on it. Okay, do you remember when I was asking you, like, remember when we were talking about when was the funeral?
That same day.
Exactly. Remember, you were like, I don't know if it was that same day. So I highlighted that because it was. And so remember I told you, I was like, somebody saw that you were there. Somebody saw that you were in town at that wake, at the funeral. And that's when that's why they put this in motion, because they saw that you were there. So if you can get some people together and figure out who all was at that that hearing, or not the hearing, but the wake, because one of those people told somebody that you were in town. That's why I highlighted that.
It was it was a pretty big funeral. Like everybody from Malacopa was there, so
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. But that's probably the first time that people seen that I was back in Malacopa.
Okay. Do you remember anything else that these individuals were wearing? I can't remember if they were wearing jeans or not. I can't recall. What happened next? We went to New Brighton. Why were you going to New Brighton? To meet up with a friend named Brandon's friend named Otto, so we can get them marijuana. Now remember, when Otto gets questioned by the police, Otto says that I hadn't seen Brandon in 2 months.
Right.
So you want to talk about impeaching like a witness? Like Otto's sitting here. Did you not read any of the discovery, Benyo? Otto says that he hasn't seen.
That was my thing. I didn't know why he was never called to testify, or even Brandon mentioned him in his testimony though, but I felt like he should have been called to testify. But that's why I always thought that Otto might have been one of the 2 guys in the bushes.
Okay, so then she says, And what was your understanding? Because remember, now the prosecution does not know what Benio is going to be doing and how he's prepared, or if he's prepared at all, unless you're committing total misconduct,
This is a call
which would
from
be throwing the case on
Pennsylvania
purpose.
State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
So Jen's doing her job to make sure, like, she's going to do her job, but that's what she said. She's like, okay, well, what was your understanding of Otto's role in this transaction? And Misty says he was to get the weed. Now, my question is, let me ask you guys this. Let's be honest. Who the hell, why would two broads, 19, why would you ever tell somebody your drug operation? I would be like, I have no idea what the hell we were doing. Those girls wouldn't know who Otto is, you know, and what Otto's role would be in this. And if you do know, then I want to say, how do you know this? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Like, this wasn't their first time.
well, or she was just told what to say.
Yeah, and I said that too. I told Daniel, like, her testimony is just so
and then all you got to do to impeach her testimony here, when Benio would have been hearing this on this, hey, we need to get a subpoena. We need to get that Otto kid in here who says that he hasn't seen any of these people in 2 months. You know what I mean? So
right, and he did.
Yeah. And so it says, okay, well, and what was your understanding of Otto's role in all this? He was to get the weed. Okay. And once you got to New Brighton, so I would have said this: objection. How does she know that? I mean, what was your understanding? Do you have personal knowledge of that? Objection.
Right.
I would be saying speculation. She'd have to reword that to know, do you have personal knowledge? You can't just say, what was your understanding of Otto's role in this transaction? Well, I would object because how does she have personal knowledge of that?
Right.
Was she there? That's hearsay.
Just going for the ride.
Yeah, that's hearsay. But he doesn't say anything. Then next question. Okay, we went up to Pulaski Township and drove around the area, and then we went to it was right next to the car wash and parked and waited for Otto to show up. Boston, it's your birthday. And did he show up? Did Otto show up? And she says, yes, he did.
This is a call
I said, you got to be kidding me.
State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Yes, he did. So we have Otto telling the police when he was interviewed in December, which was a month after this. No, I haven't seen Brandon. I haven't talked to Brandon Morgan in 2 months, at least. Well, this broad over here, Misty, she's over here. Yeah, Otto showed up again. And do you know approximately what time that was? No, I don't. And what happened when Otto showed up? Brandon got out of the vehicle and was talking to Otto. Approximately how long were you? And was Brandon talking to Otto? Oh, about 5 minutes. Okay, what happened next? Brandon got back in the car and we followed him down. I'm not sure if it was still considered Pulaski, but we followed him down the hill towards the back end of New Brighton. And what happened next? We ended up back at Pulaski Homes, and Brandon was getting phone calls, and we couldn't go directly to Otto's house because his mom didn't leave for work, and we had to wait until his mom left for work so he can get the marijuana. How does she know this? How does she know this operation? Oh yeah, you know me. I tore.
I didn't know they had a meeting beforehand.
I tore apart these transcripts. There's 1,800 pages of transcripts. I read them all. I can tell you everything that Misty Martin says.
Yeah, because it is a lot of transcripts.
Oh, but this is wild. Okay, so now even Benio, we got a guy here. You're telling me Otto did not testify in this. You guys understand this? Otto didn't testify. He was not called by the defense, and he was not called by the prosecution. Why do you think Otto wasn't called by the prosecution? Because it would blow their case up.
Right.
But how does Benio not call him?
That's the crazy thing, because all of them was worried about getting in trouble about, I guess the police told them that they would get in trouble for facilitating the drug deal. So them bringing Otto shows that their intent was to facilitate a drug deal or play middleman or purchase drugs from Otto or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So check this out. Remember how you just said you thought that Otto would have been one of the people in the bushes? I think you might be right there because of this line of questioning. So she said the mom didn't leave after work and we had to wait until his mom left for work so he could get the marijuana. And then what happened? We pulled into Pulaski and parked. Well, did you get the marijuana? So we pulled into Pulaski and parked. Brandon got out of the car and went behind the vehicle on the backside of the apartments and came back like 5 minutes later. And on that occasion, did Brandon leave the vehicle by himself? Yes. So who remained in the vehicle? Jamie, Antoine, Marquay, and I. Do you recall this?
Yeah.
So
I
you
told you he went to he said he had to go to the house to see if they
No, do you recall following Otto around in a car?
No, that had to be beforehand.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're putting you, remember, so that's why I asked you what time you think you left. Because they're putting you in this vehicle driving around with them. You get what I'm trying to, like, her testimony is saying that you got in the vehicle, so did Antoine. When they left Rochester AutoZone, that they drove to Otto's house, but his mom was there, and so that they couldn't get the weed.
Right, but remember she said that when they met him at the car wash, and they asked her what happened after that. She said then Brandon started getting phone calls from Antoine or Markway again.
Yeah, she's getting caught up in her lies is what's happening. But so she's saying, but you never did that though. You were never at Otto's house.
Yeah, no, I don't remember us ever meeting anybody else.
Okay, so then she says you got Jamie, Antoine, Markway, and I. What if anything happened in the vehicle while Brandon was out at the Pulaski homes? Markway and Jamie were talking, and he was flirting with her.
Yeah.
Objection, speculation. How did I gotta play with that? That's funny. Okay. When you say flirting with her, describe what you mean. Asking her to have sex with him. Anton was still in the car, and Markway ended up getting in the front seat to like the driver's side and was like talking with Jamie. Have sex with him. Just blurts out. Brandon
we was all talking too though.
Hey girl, have sex with me. I like to think that you have some better game than that. Sorry, but how did Jamie respond to this? She was stunned that he wasn't asking her questions. She was stunned that he was asking her questions. And then Mr. Hollis says, objection as to the witness's state of mind. There you go. We got an objection in there. The court, just testify to what you observed, ma'am. I will sustain the objection at this point in time. Ms. Popovich, continue on. She was just telling him that she was with Brandon and that she couldn't do that to him. Now, did Brandon eventually come back to the vehicle? Yes, he did. And once he got back to the vehicle, where was he seated? In the driver's side, up on the driver's. And you had just mentioned that Markway had moved to the driver's side? Yes. Where did he go? They just sat on each other's laps.
Yeah,
She just got caught in another lie. Did you jump to the front seat?
No.
Where did Brandon, when he came back, where did he go? Well, he was in the front seat too. Oh, so Brandon Morgan sat on top of Dayvon's lap? And that's when she's like, well, no. He moved to the driver's side.
The only time I got out, I moved out of the seat I was in was to get completely out the car though. And that's when me and Brandon Reeves got out the car completely though.
So then they say, okay, well, what? And then what happened? Well, Brandon got back into the vehicle. We're all sitting, whatever. We left Pulaski and we made a right to go back down towards Sheets. And now see, this corroborates your statement. Okay. We left Pulaski and we made a right to go back down towards Sheets. And Marquez started saying that he needed at least 1 pound because Brandon said that he couldn't get the weed tonight. And Marquez said that he needed at least 1 pound to go back with because his buddies were expecting weed. Did you say that?
I just,
You have 1 minute left.
I told him that we had to come back with something like you had us come all the way out here and do all this driving and all this shit. Like,
so wait, so he comes back to the car and he's like, we can't get the weed. So why did he tell you to meet you? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I thought you had, because this is what so you say he gets back in the car and he says, we can't get any weed. No one has weed.
He said, no. What he said when he got back in the car, he said that he ain't had a weed right now, that we had to wait.
Okay.
And I said, if you can't get it, then at least get me something. Like, that was the thing. Like, at least get me something.
It was okay. You weren't like, give me a pound. I mean, like okay. So, then they say, what happens next?
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
I'll call right back.
Yeah. So for the audience here. So lawyer says, okay, so what happens next? We went down to Sheets. Why did you go to Sheets? Well, so Marquay, his name is not even Marquay, it's Dayvon. So Marquay could get some nachos or something to eat.
Yes,
He's got munchies before he's even smoking. I'm like, give me a pound now. I ain't going back with nothing. Like,
hold on, Anna.
okay. Girl, I know we get about to get rowdy in here. Where's my weed? Giving a shout out to all the viewers out there. This is where the fun comes into, because if you don't laugh about some of this stuff, like, you just cry. And mind you, Misty's 19 at the time when this happened, so would have been 20. But she, for 19 knows all about their drug operation. Bullshit. Why didn't someone buy the guy in jail a calling card so he doesn't have to keep calling back?
Hello?
No, you have to do it. You can only be on the phone. You have to do that. That's how it is, right? They always interrupt like that. You don't just get to be on for X amount of time, right?
What?
Like, if I was to buy the phone call, do you get, like, does it interrupt, or it automatically does that, right?
Yeah, it automatically does it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why everybody hates that joint.
Everyone hates what?
Everybody hates when they interrupt the phone call.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here, this is where it gets fun for me. She says, what happens next? We went down to Sheets. Why did you go to Sheets? So Marquay could get some nachos or something to eat, you know? Well, did he do this? Yeah. So this dude's gonna go get on every camera he possibly can. Go into Sheets, like, here, just walks right in, you know, like, I'm on camera, but I'm planning on robbing and raping people tonight with, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
I really didn't, like, I didn't think it was going to turn out the way it turned out. Like, my intent was to ride with Brandon Reeves and just really beat her with him, so nothing happened.
So that
was my thing. I'm hungry, so take me down here while we wait and get something to eat.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it wasn't that serious.
Yeah, you're like, well, if we're waiting, I mean, let's go to Sheets here. I'm hungry. Let me get some nachos or something, you know? So after he got the nachos, what happened next? He got back in the car and told us to take him up to Marbles up in Pulaski. What's that?
Oh, no. I never heard of that.
So, okay. I am assuming it looks like a bar. Have you ever been there? No, I have not. Duh, I'm 19. You know that May song? You knew. I follow her to school. Sorry, that's old school. 2000 like 99. I am assuming it looks like a bar. Have you ever been there? No, I have not. Okay, did you eventually go to Marbles? No, we no, we never went up to Marbles. And let me take you a few steps back. When you were at Sheets, Mr. Hollis, your lawyer says, Your Honor, can we approach, please? Excuse me? Can we approach? For the following proceedings were had at a sidebar. So they had a sidebar. Your Honor, during the various periods of the testimony, juror number 1 has been asleep. This is the sidebar. Your Honor, during the various periods of the testimony, your juror number 1 has been asleep.
State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
The court, this guy's such a dick. The court, counsel, I will determine if anyone has been asleep, and I haven't seen juror number 1 sleepy or sleeping or any other juror. Sit down.
The crazy thing is, the man was asleep for a good 5-10 minutes. Like, and it's funny because we tried to get him removed off the jury pool on the initial board there because he said that he was like 79 years old and he took Vicodin for his back, and I'm like that's a downer. Like he can't he'll be like 79 years old. You take Vicodin, he can't be coherent enough to follow the trial. They still kept him on there, and he ended up sleeping during the trial. But McBride didn't like Todd Hollis. He didn't like the fact that I went and got Todd Hollis to sit co-counsel with Vigno.
Okay.
And he called him a celebrity and all that. Like it was weird. Everything he did, he shot him down. He didn't let him talk. He just made it rough for him.
Oh my gosh. So sit down, counsel. Okay. So he says, sit down, and now it goes, whereupon the sidebar proceedings were concluded. I love how they have the sidebars in here, though. This is amazing. He says, okay, Ms. Popovich, continue. Now, Misty, let's take a few steps back. Whenever you were at Sheets, what, if anything, did you observe in the parking lot? There were cops in the parking lot. There were other cars, I believe, too. So I highlight that for a reason. I highlight that. So there's cops in the parking lot. So not only does Dayvon get out of the vehicle, walk in, buy cops, gets on every camera, okay, gets back into the car. You mentioned police.
And allegedly got a gun on me with the police right there.
Yeah, and allegedly you have a gun on you. Rochester. Okay, now after leaving Sheets, where did you go? Well, Marquay told us to make a left. She already told you. They went up to Marbles, right?
This is a call from Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
This is where it's a complete lie because, okay, now remember, the line of questioning is this. Before the sidebar. Okay, you went down to Sheets. What did you do at Sheets? Well, Marquay wanted some nachos. Did he do that? No. After he got the nachos, what happened next? He got in the car and told us to take him up to Marbles up in Pulaski. Okay, ready? Can you can hear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now she says she wants to back up and re-talk about leaving Sheets. Now listen to what's going on. This is insanity. Okay. Okay, now after leaving Sheets, where did you go? Marquay told us to make a left and then another immediate left, and I believe one more left, and then we got back into the Sheets to go back towards Pulaski. Where did you go next? We were driving, and the next thing I knew, he had a gun to the back of Jamie's head. What? Do you just see what happened though there? Wait, she just testified that you guys went to Marbles. So now the new testimony is that when you got back in the car, you made a square, and then you pulled a gun on Jamie?
So it would have had to be in front of Sheets.
Yeah, so then she says, we were driving, and the next thing I knew, he had a gun to the back of Jamie's head. Did you see the gun at the back of Jamie's head? Yes, I did. And how was he holding it? He had it like up, like not like, I believe up like directly against her head, but it was like to like the back of her head. And would you describe the gun? It was silver. And when he had the gun to the back of Jamie's head, how did she react? She got scared and she started crying. And at one point, Brandon turned around, the driver, Brandon Morgan, turned around and tried talking to Marquay, and Marquay started yelling or getting upset. Do you remember what Marquay said? I can't recall. Objection, hearsay, overruled. Do you remember what Marquay said, if anything? I can't remember exactly what he said. And when you saw the gun, how did you feel? I was scared. And after Marquay put the gun to the back of Jamie's head, what happened next? Brandon was talking to Marquay, or tried talking to him, and the front driver's side window was shot out. Jesus. What?
So, and that was the crazy thing. That's what I was telling Todd Holland. Like, she said I had a gun to Jamie's head, but then the window was shot out on the opposite side of her. But she's sitting in the passenger side, and I'm sitting directly behind her, but I got the gun to her head. How's the window shot out?
Yeah, well, I'll back one up. I thought y'all were at Marbles. What is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is...
And I don't think Jamie ever testified to. Jamie said she never seen a gun.
Yeah, no. God bless it. Sorry, guys. I've been sick. Now, it picks up, guys, so follow along, okay? I know I'm Dayvon's mother. Yes, Rayetta Lee's in the building. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Rayetta baby. Say hi to your mom, Dayvon.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Mama. Rayetta Lee, I'm going to have to come take you to Benihana. You want to go get some Benihana? You, Dayvon, you deserve Benihana. I mean, so moving on. Do you recall what Marquay said, if anything? Oh, no, we already did that. Sorry. Oh, did you see anyone else with a handgun at that time? No, I did not. And once the window was shot out, what happened next? He told us to drive, to go back into Pulaski. Did you? Yes, we did. What happened when you arrived at Pulaski? We parked and Marquay got out of the car and told Brandon, ordered Brandon to get out of the car. And see, that's being taught. That's being taught.
Right.
Ordered Brandon. That is a coach move. She was coached right here. And guess what? I highlighted it. Because I saw that immediately. I was like, she ordered. No 19-year-olds saying nobody was ordered out of the car. You are taught to say that. Because at first she said this. We parked and Marquay got out of the car and Brandon ordered Brandon to get out of the car and asked for his cell phones. Liar. Misty, you a bad girl.
The crazy thing is, we never went back to Pulaski Homes after Brandon went back there and knocked on that door with me. And them people came, and the old people came and told us they was going to call the police. We never went back there.
So you only went there.
None of that. Yeah, none of that ever. That right there, what she said, never transpired because I grabbed Brandon when he came out of when he came back from the house, from the apartment.
Yes, yes.
Like we were already there.
Yep.
Like we were already there when all that transpired like that.
Yes.
But nobody had a gun to nobody's head. Nobody had a gun to Jamie's head. None of that.
No, I know all this because this is all what's going to make it all work so what I'm going to do with my channel is I'm going to have Bella read and I'm going to play the parts of like the witnesses and, so we're going to have the whole entire channel is going to be able to hear your whole trial. And it is going to make people really open up their eyes to hear that I can't believe that. How did y'all find anybody guilty in this situation? Like, when I read this, I was like, well, they must have been sleeping. I would have been like, what are they even talking about? I already caught her in 4 lies. She's over here talking. She went to Marbles. Then she's over here making circles around the sheets. And now she's telling me that some black kid just pulled out a gun in front of police and shot out a window and buy sheets. Are you insane? You want me to believe that?
And then she said she was on her phone the whole time, so she really wasn't paying attention to nothing that was going on. But the crazy thing is, I feel like because I was the only one that was willing to take it to trial, that they had to figure out a way to make all the evidence fit against me. That's why they made me the ringleader. That's why a lot of the evidence doesn't fit against me, because they tried to make it fit.
Yeah, and I think that they were always thinking that you were eventually going to take a deal, so there was going to be no trial. So, you know what I'm saying? So
I wasn't taking no deal.
I wouldn't have taken a deal either. I'd do anything, But at the same time, though, I would expect, I would almost be like, if you would have known that your lawyer isn't going to do the right thing, though, then you don't have a chance. You're going to lose because he's not going to do. Yeah. If he would have done his job, you're not where you're at. No doubt about it.
And Tom Hollis he did the best that he could with the amount of time that he had.
Yeah, you got him 1 month before the trial.
Yeah, McBride refused to let him get a continuance. Like, he just played hardball. Like, he wasn't letting us do nothing. Like,
oh, you could see it.
Hollis, he didn't care.
Then she says, order Brandon to get out, and he asked for a cell phone. Did you give him the cell phone?
You have 1 minute left.
Brandon did. But when he pulled the gun, I threw my cell phone underneath the seat in the back seat. She's so full of shit. And what happened next? Brandon got out, and so did Marquay. And Marquay told him to get out of the car because he wanted to see if I had a cell phone on me. He told me to lift up my shirt, and I did. And did you? Yes. Did you do that?
No, she never got out the car.
She never got out the car?
She didn't get out the car until Aliquippa.
Okay. What happened next? He told me Marquay told me to get back into the car. So I got back into the car, and Brandon and Marquay took off back behind the building. Did you see where they went? They just went to the left behind the building. And did you hear anything at that time? I did not. Okay. And who was left in the vehicle? Antoine.
Thank you for using Securus.
Antoine. Damn it.
Call right back.
Okay. Antoine. Where was he seated? He actually wasn't seated. He was standing. How do you stand in the car? You guys, wait a second. Question.
You see, I just said in the car.
Yeah. Okay. And who was left in the vehicle? Antoine. Where was he seated? He actually wasn't seated. He was standing. He was standing outside behind the passenger with the back passenger door open, leaning up against another truck that was parked next to us. I can't. I just can't. Where were you at this time? I was sitting behind the driver's seat still. Where was Jamie? In the front seat in the passenger. And while Brandon, Morgan, and Marquay went behind the building, what was happening at the vehicle? Me and Jamie tried pleading to have him let us go. And he said, what?
Hello?
Oh, hey.
What you said now?
Oh, yeah, I was just keeping it going here. The question was, and while Brandon and Marquay went behind the building, what was happening at the vehicle? Is that what happened to you and Brandon Morgan went? Like, did any of this happen?
When me and Brandon Morgan went back to that apartment, once Jamie told us that, told me and Brandon Rivas that they was trying to rob us, we got off the car. We got off the truck and went to the back of the truck, and we was talking, and we looked back there, and it was the two white boys standing in the bushes. So when Brandon Morgan came back to tell us that, all right, we could go now, like they was ready with the drugs. That's when we grabbed them.
Okay, so So you never went with Brandon Morgan back to the house because he came out to you guys. He said, "Okay, they're ready with the drugs."
Yeah, once he did that, we went back to the house. Me and him went back to the house.
Okay, but he left. He went on his own.
He went on his own first.
Yes. Okay. So me and Jamie tried pleading to have him let us go and said he could not do that. And I asked him if he had a gun, and he said yes. And he said that he would make sure nothing would happen to us. Okay, and what happened next, Misty? Brandon and Marquay came back around the building, and Marquay had his hand in his pocket, and he had his hand up against Brandon's back. Then what happened? They came back to the vehicle, and Brandon got into the back of the car. Antoine got in next to him, and then Marquay got in behind Jamie again, and we left Pulaski. And what happened once you left Pulaski? We went back towards Sheets. And at that time, Marquay thought we might be wired.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. None of that was said, and none of that happened.
Marquay thought we might be wired, so he ordered me and Jamie to strip. What the fuck? Did this happen? I'm sorry, but
None of that. Like, they never stripped. I don't know why they And then we was in the vehicle. Like, how did y'all stripping in the vehicle?
They were stripping? They weren't. Wait, they were stripping?
No, that's what I was saying. Like, none of that happened.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody made nobody strip. None of that. None of that. We was in the vehicle. Like, how was y'all stripping in the vehicle? It's 3 people in the back seat. Like, that's not what it was. They was trying to create a story that made you look like a tyrant.
Yes, exactly. I'm laughing because I was like, if I would have been listening to this, I'm like, wait, what? So we and did you? Yes. Did you want to? No. And where did you put your clothes? I left them in my lap. And Jamie was throwing hers in the back seat. Who would strip and throw their clothes in the back seat if you need to get to them then? Okay.
Right.
I let Jamie was throwing hers into the back seat. What happened after he ordered you to strip? He told Brandon.
State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
He told Brandon to knock out the glass in the window, and he did that. Why did he tell him to do that? I am not sure. Okay, what was the condition of the glass at the time before he was to knock it out? This is a leading objection.
Right.
That was leading her because you want her to remember what the hell you're quizzing her on. Okay, what was the condition of the glass at the time before he was to knock it out? It was shattered and like bits and pieces were still together. Okay, after he ordered Brandon to knock out the glass, what happened next? He drove down past Sheets, and Marquay told Jamie to lean forward so the cops at Sheets couldn't see us. And what happened? And what happened next? We kept going down back towards AutoZone, and then at the light in the little plaza by Long John Silver's, we made the left, and then we made the right into the bridge. Okay, and were you aware of where you were going this time? Not at that point, no. What happened next? We made the right off the bridge and made an immediate left. Where were you in Monaca at this point? Yes. And what happened while you were in Monaca? Marquay told us to pull off the side of the road Marquay told us to pull off when we made that immediate left so he could, because he said he wanted to drive. Did you drive?
Yeah, I drove to Aliquippa.
Okay, so she pulls over, you drive. So he told us to pull over. We pull over. Brandon got out. Antoine and Marquay both got out. Brandon got in next to me. Antoine got in behind Jamie, and Marquay was driving. And let me take you a few steps back, Misty. While all of this was happening, what, if anything, did you observe about Brandon Morgan's condition? He was bleeding. And where was he bleeding from? From his forehead. And when you saw, was he bleeding heavily, lightly? It was dark. I had just noticed that he had blood on his shirt, a lot of blood on his shirt. Okay, and what did you...
Call from Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Okay, and what did you know why he was bleeding? He got hit by a gun. Who hit him with a gun? Marquay. Did you see that happen? Yes. When did you see that happen? That happened back at where he shot out the window. And where you located when he shot out the window? It was across from an abandoned gas station. It was like a little junkyard where they have like wrecked cars. Okay. And now that you were back in Monaca, did you, Marquay, eventually drive the vehicle? Yes, he did. He, where was Antoine at this time? Passenger side behind Jamie. Once Marquay got into the driver's seat, what happened next? We went back down we started heading towards Aliquippa. And, and he was asking us what we had, money, if any of us had money, and I told him I didn't have any money because I just started a job. Brandon said he had money in his banking account from his ATM. And after Brandon said that, what happened next? We went to Aliquippa to Skybank, and Antoine and Brandon got out at Skybank, and Brandon got out the money. And what?
That's the thing, like they confused. They making it seem like I was doing all the talking, but that's not what it was. Brandon Rivas was talking at that point. Like I wasn't dictating nothing.
So who told them to go to the Skybank?
Brandon Rivas did.
Yeah, and he's the one that got out of the car. He's the one that stood next to the dude and was there while he was taking out the money. I have the Skybank receipts. He attempted 3 times to pull out from the ATM. He tried to get 500, he couldn't. Then he did 300. Then he did 400. Then he got 300. Marquay was still in the car, and he was going through the middle console. She says it here. And what exactly did you see what happened, Antoine and Brandon, next to the vehicle? Well, Marquay was still in the car, and he was going through the middle console, going through Brandon's wallet, throwing stuff out the window. He asked for any jewelry we had on. Did you give him jewelry? I didn't have any jewelry on, but Jamie had earrings, necklace, rings, and a bracelet on. Is that when she gave you her jewelry?
She gave it to Brandon Rivas.
God bless America. Did she give it?
That was the thing. Like at that point, I wasn't saying or really doing nothing. Like Brandon was.
Yeah, you're just standing there.
That's why Brandon took him to the bank. That's why Brandon got out. Like
yeah.
But again, this was the whole thing was because Brandon wasn't there for the trial. They had to put everything on me. They had to make it seem like I was the ringleader.
Yeah. She says it here. What if anything else happened during this period of time? She's like, what do you mean? Like, well, did anything else happen while at the Skybank? Well, Brandon was at the machine and Marquay yelled something, but I can't remember what he yelled. And Brandon was telling him he couldn't take out a lot of money. It only allowed him to take out 300. Then what happened? They got back into the car and we went into Aliquippa. And we went up to a church. It was a dead-end road where a church was, and we pulled up. And do you know what approximately time this was at? No, I don't. Was it dark? It was dark. What happened once you arrived at this church? We pulled up, and Marquay told us all to get out of the car. So we all got out of the car, and she told Antoine to grab the sub box and the amp out of the back of the truck. Did that happen?
Yeah.
Did you guys?
No, Rivas grabbed that out of there.
Rivas took the subwoofer.
Nobody else got out the car though. Nobody else got out the truck.
Okay, so Rivas gets out of the truck. He takes the subwoofer, puts it in his.
He's like, hold on. I waited. He went to the back, grabbed the speakers out of there, and his house was right around the corner.
Yeah. It holds speakers. Okay, what and did Antoine do that? Yes, Antoine did it. So she admits it. Antoine did that. What if anything else happened while you guys were at the church? A light came on and we had told us to get back in the car. And so who is Marquay? And what happened next? We all got back into the car. Antoine put the sub box back into the back of the truck and we left and we started going back down the hill. Did he return the box? Or did he keep the subwoofer? You there?
Yeah. Oh, you asked me a question? You asked me that question?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, babe.
Yeah, he kept them.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, he kept them.
yeah,
But the crazy thing is this, right? Jamie is the one that is telling Brandon Reeves everything. So when Brandon is telling him, like, where is the weed at? Where is the money at? She's telling him, like, no, it ain't none at home. He got money in the bank, though. Like, nobody is saying these things. So that's what made Brandon say, all right, well, take me to the bank then. Like, she's telling him everything to do. Like, there is no weed at our house. But he got money. He got a bunch of money in his bank account. So Brandon said, "Well, take me to the bank then."
Okay. We stopped in the middle of the road and dropped Antoine off at Mark. And Marquay told him to pull out the amp in the sub box. And did he? Yes. And what happened next? We kept going and we made it right into a dark alley and we backed into a spot. And once you arrived at this dark alley, what did Marquay say? Anything to you? He said something. He said somebody had to pay. And after he said that, what happened? He ordered me and Brandon Morgan out of the car. And did you do it? Yes. And what happened after he ordered you out of the car? He told me to give Brandon head. Oh my God. I just can't.
Which doesn't make sense.
So she tells the guys, I have to tell them. So she's ordered out of the car. Jamie is Brandon Morgan's girlfriend. Okay, they're together. So you ordered Brandon out of the car, Brandon Morgan, and Misty, and you were. This is what she's saying. You were like, "Yep, give him head."
Yeah.
Okay. And did that ever happen?
No.
Okay. And is she naked?
No.
Because remember, everybody's stripped down, so everybody's just naked.
Nobody's stripped down.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, like, so he said somebody had to pay. He ordered something. Okay. What happened after he ordered you out of the car? He told me to give Brandon more. And when you say to give Brandon head, what do you mean, Misty? To suck on his penis? Did you? Yes. Did you want to? No. Why did you do it? Because I was scared. I was afraid that I was going to be killed. And what happened next, Misty? I looked into the car and Jamie's head was in Marquay's lap and her head was moving up and down. And I stopped giving Brandon head and Marquay looked out the window and told me I wasn't done. What? Did any of that happen?
You have 1 minute left.
I'm sorry, but this is just wild.
I'm telling you, like, it was Timmy and them, like, that was their.
Yeah, this was their version. This is Timmy Patrick's version of events that night. He's got
The jury didn't even think that shit made sense.
Yeah.
Like,
and then what happened, Misty? I started giving Brandon head again. And then, well, during that period of time, did any part of Brandon's body enter any part of your body? Yes. And what part was this? His penis entered my mouth. Did you want that to happen? Asked and answered. No. And after Marquay told you that you weren't finished, what happened next? I started giving Brandon head again. Then Brandon told me to stop. And I looked into the truck and I saw Jamie on top of Marquay. And what was Jamie doing?
Thank you for using Securus.
They were having sex. They were having sex. And she was moving up and down. And what did you observe about Jamie at that time? There was something silver up against her right side. It was in Marquay's left hand. Okay, could you tell what it was? I thought it was a gun. What happened next, Misty? Jamie got off of him and got back into the passenger seat. And Marquay said Jamie would be back for us. Okay. Now, when all of this was happening, what side of the vehicle were you on? We were on the driver's side. Wait, I thought you said when all this was happening that you were outside the vehicle. Okay. And were you clothed at this time? I was. Well, when did you put your clothes back on? And when you asked Marquay for your clothing, what happened? I got my shirt and my jeans and my shoes. Okay. Is he there? If you guys were on the jury, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think so far? If you're on the jury, you're hearing this. Wild. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This gonna be the last call. They go send us in.
They are.
In a few minutes.
Okay. I mean, I feel bad for Misty because Misty was told to say these things or she was going to be getting in trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I believe. You know, it's like you said, y'all are going to be getting in trouble for facilitating a drug deal, things like that, and or you're going to do this. This is wild. This is wild.
I think looking back at it today, I feel like if she had an opportunity, she would tell the truth. I would hope that.
Oh yeah.
Knowing that they couldn't get in trouble anymore. That
Yeah.
They say, you know what? Like, that's not what happened. Like, I was told to say these things because this was not a part of your initial. It's not a part of your testimony. Your initial statement, your second statement, or your third statement. Like, these ain't things that you was talking about.
Yeah, this was
you playing your game the whole time.
Yep, and she was coached. These words ordered. You know, I don't know. You know, this is a coach job. This is. I agree with you though. I think that, you know, people come forward and they're like, I need to recant all of this because this is not what happened. This is what I was told to say. Otherwise, I would be getting in trouble. That's what I believe.
Right.
Also, two girls don't know all about someone's drug operation that you just met a year. I mean, it's just, and then oh yeah, we had a.
I always thought that Jamie was forced to testify because you got to think she was the one that was with us the most, and she's the one that never identified.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't identify anybody, and then you help us wipe down our fingerprints, everything. Like, and you was on your way home. You wasn't going to report nothing or going to the police station or nothing. You rolled past two of them. Like, I really feel like Timmy and Chamberlain had a hand in this. Like, oh,
they for sure did, and they're you know that their careers, they walked right up the ladder. They're the highest paid people in Beaver County when you want to talk about government employees.
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Green. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Chamberlain and Timmy Patrick are the top two paid law enforcement people in Beaver County next to the DA.
Right.
Yeah.
And they the most crooked ones in Beaver County. But I mean, looking back at it and being having knowledge of the law and all the legal ramifications at this point, I'm looking back and saying there was so much missed to this. There was so many missed opportunities in this at this trial.
So many. You know, because when I first started reading this, Dayvon, I was reading this because remember I told you I was like, God, I didn't want to, when I heard like about a rape case, I'm like, dude, I don't want to take on something like that. Like, I just like, that's not, but I was like, okay, it has to do with corruption. And I didn't believe that you did it. You know what I mean? So I need to like, but it was very difficult for me to decide to do it. When I started reading this, I could see the words. I could see the language that was used. And I'm like, this isn't language that a 19-year-old who, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but is not educated to this, like, you know, this is coached material. Okay. And then none of this makes any sense to the point that she's constantly getting tripped up, and Popovich is continuing to have to, like, you know, okay, let's take a couple steps back and let's, you know, like this or that. And and I know Popovich, and she's a phenomenal person and a phenomenal DA, well, lawyer. She was a assistant prosecutor at the time. And she has so much integrity that I don't believe that she was be the one to coach anybody.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
And it's almost like, you know, maybe I'll reach out to her and ask her if she would, you know, have you ever really looked at this? Because this is really unfortunate.
Right.
And this person, because when you have mutual respect in the avenues that you work, like, Jen's a phenomenal attorney, but more importantly, she's a really good human being. And I think that you said that she said to you, your client did really good, right? Something like that.
Yeah, she told Benio that I did a great job on the stand. But
Yeah.
my thing has always been, and
when you're telling the truth, it's easy when you're on the stand. That's, you know what I mean? It is, though.
Right. And the thing about it is, I'm gonna always tell the truth. I'm gonna always stand on what I believe in. That's why when I first talked to you, I explained to you, I know I'm never gonna say that I was completely innocent in this situation, because I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, the things that they said that I did with the rape and all that, like, I did not have any part of that. So that was one of my main reasons for saying I'm not taking no plea deal. I'm going to trial. This is one thing that I'll fight forever. I got 2 daughters. How do I explain that to them? I got a mother. I got a grandmother. I was raised by women my whole life. How do I look them in their face if I'm going to admit to something like this? And so that's why I always fight. That's why I took the chance of going to trial and getting the time that I got, because I was just unwilling to admit to something like that.
Yeah, and that's why I try to, because going through stuff like this, guys, like, to take all the papers, you got to put them all in order, and then you have to read the whole case, because there is no, like, a bunch of social media out there that has a bunch of your stuff. Like, you physically have to, like, you know, you have to familiar. Like, for me, I had to, okay, if I'm going to fight for you, I have to know your case inside and out. Otherwise, I won't be able to fight for you. So, and that requires just a ton of time and hours of, like, okay, I need to know everything about this. And I had to organize it. And then I had to do, you know, who's connected to who knows who, and, you know, how can we go about, like, just getting you home and not to be there. And then even if it's on the back end, that let's clear your name after we can get you home type of thing. But this is just, this was a setup from jump, because you never saw Brandon Morgan in Finish Line. Your name is not Marquay. You know.
And the crazy thing is, like, even with my time, like, they say me and Brandon was co-defendants. We both equally contributed to this crime. But he got a 7 to 14. He got 14 years less than I did. 15 years less than I did.
And all he did was what? Did he do 7? How many years did he do?
He did 7 or 8. But and then Much did a 1 or 2, and Rico did a 1.5 to 3. Like, nobody in my case got the time that I get. So it was like,
you got 24 to 56. You got 24 to 23. 23 to 54 with no priors. Like, no, you didn't have any you weren't a felon, were you?
Nope. I had no priors, no nothing. I was a 0 on the prior record score. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All of us was. Nobody had a record. None of my co-defendants had a record.
Yeah.
But I was the only one that was given this type of time. And like Judge McBride said, he know my mother long before he ever met me, and he know my upbringing wasn't good, and this and that. Everything was about my mother, and that was the reason that he was sentencing me to what he was sentencing me to.
It's unbelievable. And I mean, what's unbelievable for me is like, as I'm sorry, but as a prosecutor, how do you, okay, the kid got, everyone's else is getting this and you're getting 23 to 56. Like, I'd have a problem with that. Like,
Yeah.
Did they have any recommendations?
Who?
Like the state, like at sentencing?
No. They wanted the max on everything, and everything ran well. So they really wanted me to get like a 30 to 60 years.
And they didn't find any guns. So like, that's what I was trying to, how can we get you, like if those gun charges weren't on you, you'd be out right now.
Yeah, I would have been home. But the gun charges give me that mandatory 5-year sentence, that mandatory sentence. No evidence of a gun, no gun residue, no gun was ever found. No testimony really saying that I had a gun except for Missy Martin, but everybody else is saying they didn't see a gun, they seen something silver, or like the testimony was just inconsistent about the gun. And then Rivas allegedly told Missy Martin that he had a gun, but like it's just that's what gave me all the time that I got. Even with the jury verdict, how they the crimes that they convicted me of, and the ones that they like 3 not guilties on kidnapping, 3 guilties on kidnapping, like it was just so, the verdict was just so weird, and it just felt like everything was, well, we can't let them just completely walk, but we got to get them on something. And I think if they knew the magnitude of the time I would get for the charges that they was finding me guilty, that they wouldn't have. It was a lot of steps taken in order for me to get found guilty. The mother and father having contact with 2 jury members in the parking garage. Even after this man should have been barred from the courtroom for telling his daughter what to say on the stand. Like, they made sure that they did whatever it took, however they had to do it, they made sure that they got their conviction.
Yeah, and it's because your mom recanted her statement against Jamie Brown about killing the cop.
And that's exactly it. Like,
I can put the dates together. Rayetta Lee filled it out. That happened. She recanted, and literally all of that incident that night and her recanting all took place in a 5-day period. And I think, I mean, that's what they do. Like, okay, well, you do this, we're coming for your kid. Like, they come for your family there.
And they did. But Simi harassed me my whole life, like, because he didn't like my mom. Anything that he could do to hurt her, he would do. And it's crazy because his nephew is my first cousin. My aunt was married to his brother. Like, I done been over this man's mother's house, stayed over her house, like, went over there for holidays, and his hate for my mother, it just made him just go hard. I don't know, Lana, but this is what I've been dealing with for the past 18 years.
We're gonna hopefully be able to change that here. I'm gonna do everything I can. I know
you are, and I appreciate everything that you do. Like,
I'm
grateful to have.
You have 1 minute left.
I'm gonna do everything I can to get. I just need I think I can get through to some of these people that they should recant what they said.
I just want them to come and tell the truth, and that's what I was hoping that this would do. This would.
Well, that's what it's designed to, is to get it into, for people to see this and people to hear this. I mean, those people that testified, do they know? Like, that's the whole thing, is if they don't even know that you're here sitting there, they don't know how that whole trial played out. They don't know everything that was said.
Right.
They were just like, well, shit, I'm doing this so that I don't get in trouble. You know what I mean? So they do that, not realizing, you know, what the fallout caused. And at 19 and 20, you're not thinking, but guess what? All this time has gone by. Now we're to the point that people are adults and they have kids, you know, and them looking back and they're like, that man needs to be with his kids. First of all, he didn't do that. And second of all, like,
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
mm,
Yeah, that was the last one.
it's so sad. How's his spirits been?
I mean, naturally, it's been tough. I actually have a visit with her tomorrow, so I'll go cheer him up a little bit.
Okay, are you going there?
Yeah,
What time are you going there?
at 8:30.
Oh, in the morning. Cool. You gonna be around a little bit later?
Yeah.
I'll give you a call. I'll talk to you. I'll give you a call.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Lana.
Oh, you're very welcome, Lindsay. I'll talk to you soon, babe.
Bye.
Okay. Mm. This is what Fight for a Family does. This is what I do. You know, talking about the Idaho case, no offense, but it can wait. This is way more important. What I do, I don't do it for the money. There's no money in this. I do it because I'm able to help, I think. We give people hope. But Dayvon's a good man. I want his daughters to be proud of him. So I'd want someone to fight for my kid. So it's I like joking around with him too. He's cool. He's one of the good ones. So he's out now. Now he's Dayvon's this is a prison call. That's what you guys are talking about. But yeah, so I'll be picking up next Saturday. Maybe I might do a night in between then and now, but I just do a lot of this off at night and research and put things together. So, but thank you guys so much for all of your, you know, listening skills and sharing this, getting the word out. But Dayvon Cox needs to come home. He served plenty of time. Even if you think that he's guilty of sin, which he's not, but even if you want to say that, he's done his time. So the transcripts, the truth is in the transcripts, and there's just a lot of lies. So all right, guys, I will see you in the next like 9 minutes. I'll be starting that live at 4:30. Just want to clear my throat. Some soup in my throat. All right, guys. 4:30 if you guys want to hear about the Idaho 4. Peace.